Warm greetings to you today. My name is the Reverend Kathy McCallum, and I'm the retired Associate Minister at Trinity United Church. Several Sundays ago, I stood in front of a small congregation in the outlying area. I was in front of the communion table, barbecue lighter in hand, ready to light the Christ candle. I started with Jesus' words, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." I reminded people that the Christ candle at the front of the sanctuary tells us that we never walk alone, that even in the darkness night, the darkest experience, the light of Christ surrounds us, and we are promised that this light will never ever be extinguished. As I moved back to the pulpit in my mind's eye, I saw a picture that's been part of my life since childhood. You might remember that picture. It was always hanging somewhere in the church, either in the sanctuary, sometimes in the Sunday school room. And the artist, William Holden, depicts Jesus standing at a large wooden door, holding an old-fashioned lantern high in his hand. It's hard to tell whether he's about to open the door or knock on it, but one thing is sure. All around the door is darkness, and the reason we can see the door so clearly is because of the brightness of the lantern that Jesus is holding. It struck me in that moment that much of our life feels like it is experienced in the midst of darkness. We have no idea what will happen next. That's a reality of life. But in times like the times we are experiencing now, that can be even more frightening, and we find ourselves consumed with worry about what will happen next. But the promise that the one we worship, Jesus the Christ, walks with us in that darkness, and more than that, holds the light, shining it even in the darkest and loneliest of our days, that gives us courage and strength for our journey, even when we feel like we are slogging through the dimness of unknowing. At the beginning of another very dark period, World War II, King George recited the following words from a poem entitled "The Desert." "And I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, 'Give me a light that I might tread safely into the darkness.' And he replied, 'Go out into the darkness and put your hand in the hand of God, and that shall be to you better than a light and safer than any known way.'" That promise of hope and comfort, the image of Jesus holding the lantern to lead us, has been a source of strength throughout my whole life, and it continues to be so in these difficult times. May the light of God's promise be your source of hope also.